Hello my friends and welcome to a new video in the playlist that is called famous requested engines on my channel. You can check it out. It has more than 100 real engines that has been replicated by me in automation game, which is absolutely awesome. You can find some famous Ford engines, Chevrolets, Toyotas, Hondas, and many other crazy engines. But in this video we are going also with another JDM engine, another Honda engine to be exact, which is the J37A5 V6 engine, which is a requested engine by a viewer called Mr. Acura TLGTLM. That's the username. He requested, and I quote here: "If you still do engine build videos, can you build a Honda J37A5? Here are the specs, displacement, and all the specs he provided, which is absolutely awesome. So this is a very awesome engine because it's a V6, which is somehow nice. It has a nice amount of horsepower. It has VTEC, which is absolutely another amazing thing by Honda. And what I did here is I recreated a replica of the 2012 model because he told me in the comment that this engine was used in the Acura ZDX. That's the name of that model. So I did a replica of that engine. Hopefully you will enjoy it. And when we finish making this replica, I'm gonna be testing it on in a sports car, of course, in BeamNG.Drive. All right, so let's start. This engine obviously is a V6, a V60 degrees to be exact. I assumed it was made from aluminium because most of Honda engines are made from aluminum. Some of them were cast iron, but I assumed, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, because I was searching Wikipedia quickly, not thoroughly, but yeah, I think no one has mentioned anything about materials, so I assumed it's aluminum. So it's an aluminum block, 90 millimeters on the bore, 96 millimeters on the stroke, which equals 3664 cc engine, single overhead camshaft with 4 valves per cylinder, also aluminum cylinder head with, of course, VVL, variable valve lift technology. Moving on, I've assumed this thing has forged internals with a cast iron crankshaft. Also because not because I've seen it online, but because in automation game, if I went with cast internals, unfortunately because of 96 millimeters to the stroke, the RPM limit will be really not that high. Yeah, not really realistic. That's why I went with forged. Let's see, cast iron crankshaft, heavy duty forged connecting rods, and forged pistons with -1 quality, because with 0 quality, I mean, it was working very perfect, more than the limit for this engine. So I just went with -1 to lower the cost down for this engine and the engineering time, of course. Moving on, the compression ratio, the official compression ratio of this engine is 11.2 to 1. A very nice and high compression ratio, which is really surprising. As you can see, I went with 52 on the cam profile, which is between normal and sport. And the VVL profile is 75, which is a little bit in the high performance area. Variable valve timing, as you can see, I can't really choose between intake VVT or exhaust VVT or even both. Because of a single overhead camshaft, your only option is just VVT. That's it. Yeah, you can't choose anything else. -6 quality, because that's the magical number. If you want to get the exact horsepower and torque for this engine, you need to go with -6 quality. Yeah. Moving on, we have, of course, it's naturally aspirated. As I've mentioned, this thing is using multi-point EFI system, single throttle body, standard intake manifold, and I went with 95 octane fuel. I'm not really sure if you can actually go with like regular fuel or not, but to help me a little bit, I just went with 95, because tuning it on 91, it's an extreme nightmare, really nightmare to, and I really don't think you can actually squeeze the correct amount of horsepower without going, fully on maximum quality, which is not really realistic. So I just went with 95 to make everything seems a little bit more realistic than magical. 13.0 is the air fuel ratio, which is a little bit close to the high side, but it's still in the green, so It's pretty normal. 78 on the ignition timing, 7,000 RPM is the RPM limit with +3 quality on the fuel system. Moving on, I've chosen tubular headers, which I'm not also sure if it's correct, like the real engine or not, because I mean, like 80% of that is actually mass produced, they come with short cast headers. But to help me a little bit with the horsepower and torque, I just went with tubular headers. Dual exhaust pipes. Let's see. Moving on, catalytic converter. I've also assumed that this engine, because it's Honda and Honda engines are really nice engines. They are not bad at all. They are really nice, engineered to perfection. So I went with a high flow 3-way catalytic converter. Maybe in real life this thing uses a 3-way. I went with the high flow 3-way also to help me in making the horsepower and torque 100% realistic. I've chosen reverse flow because, of course, all Honda engines, I mean, all mass-produced regular Honda cars uses reverse flow mufflers just to keep them extremely quiet. Also, I went with a straight-through second muffler to keep it even quieter and, to keep the horsepower and torque 100% realistic. And yes, you are seeing this correctly, plus 10 quality exhaust. Yeah, that's a little bit too much, but also in the name of making this engine to produce its 100% realistic horsepower and torque. All right, now the final results. As you can see, 300 horsepower or 299.7 at 6,300 RPM, which is 100% correct. Also, the torque, 270 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM, which is also 100% correct. Let me show you the graph. Yep, 100% correct, and I'm really proud of that because usually in automation game you can't really replicate the exact horsepower at the exact RPM, like 100%, factory spec. But I managed to do it with this engine, which is absolutely crazy. Let's see. This engine is actually very reliable. It's somehow efficient, and the emissions are actually low. It's fairly heavy. Let's see, it's quiet, it's actually responsive, it's somehow acceptably smooth, and the performance index is actually very acceptable, very nice. I'm actually impressed with this engine. And remember, 300 horsepower engine in a light car is actually very nice. But in a family car with like 6 seats and a big trunk, a very big body, and a heavy chassis, it can be peppy and nice and a little bit quick. But in a light car, this thing is actually gonna rip really hard, as you will see in a moment. So let's fire this little beast. As you can see, it looks very tremendous from the inside. Very nice noise. Very nice noise indeed. A V6 engine has a very nice noise, of course, depending on the exhaust system and the induction system or the intake system. Like for example, in an R35 GTR, that V6 is just, ripping really hard and sounds amazing. In some V6 cars, like some wagons or some, American vans, like some Chrysler vans, those V6 are really boring. But the whole idea behind the V6 is actually very nice, and especially this one, because this V6, this Honda J37A5 V6 has actually some nice technology in it. Because if you are driving this engine, for example, in a very heavy traffic, it will actually shut down three cylinders. It will shut down a whole bank, and it will be a straight 3 engine, which is absolutely crazy. It will save fuel. It will actually make the engine run cooler because you are only using 3 cylinders. The cooling system will be more efficient if you are using an air conditioning in a heavy traffic, which is absolutely crazy. For example, here in Saudi Arabia, because here the climate is really hot, this engine will actually work very nicely, because shutting 3-cylinder, keeping 3 only running in a very vast and high heat, day will be very efficient. I'm really stoked. These technologies are actually very, very awesome. All right, now let's shove this engine in a car, in that sports car that I've mentioned, and then test it in BeamNG.Drive and see how this little beast, or how this beast, because it's not actually little, it's a 3.6 liter V6. So let's see how this thing will actually perform. All right, we are back in BeamNG.Drive with our engine, with our Honda engine V6 inside this beautiful car, as you can see. This is the 10,000 GT, that's the name of it. This thing has a 10,000 RPM inline 4 engine, before this V6, find its way inside this car. Its rear-wheel drive looks absolutely crazy. It looks very, very similar to an RX-7, to be completely honest with you. The whole design behind this car was to be exactly, or very, very close to an RX-7, because I love the design of that car. Pop-up headlights, somehow looks similar to a Mitsubishi 3000 GT cross an RX-7 from the front. Very, very awesome. So our V6 is in. Let's see, here we go. It smokes a little bit. Yep. Let's see how this V6 will actually drive. Yep, it can do a nice burnout. Of course, it's rear-wheel drive. Yep, can actually, of course. Yeah, I need some practice. Look at that, second gear, and it can actually. Oh, I'm terrible at this. Let me try again. Of course, this thing has a limited slip differential. That's why it's just a tail-happy car. With an open differential, you can actually control the slide better. In the 1970s oil crisis Landjagd challenge, I was just drifting those Landjagd, at every single corner, because using an open differential, it's actually very, very awesome. It will make the slide much more controllable. But with a limited slip differential, in real life, it should be much more better than this. But yeah, in BeamNG.Drive, it's just all over the place. But look at this engine. This engine is actually very, very nice. The car weighs only 1,100 kilos. And look at that. It's actually very, very quick. Sounds very, very good. Look at that. Handles very, very nicely. Wow, it's been a while since I drove something with ABS, because all the cars that I've been driving, like since 2 weeks or 3 weeks in BeamNG.Drive, all these cars are like viewer-made cars and has no ABS, because they were actually from the 70s or something from the previous challenges. And yeah, I got used to using no ABS at all. As you can see, this car is just a tail-happy car, but if you can actually be a little bit more careful with the throttle, this thing will actually be a very, very nice car. Yeah, like this. Oops. Oh my goodness. I need to practice with limited slip differential. Using an open differential, as I've mentioned, is really, really awesome if you want to drift, because it will make the slide really, really controllable. But with a limited slip differential, no. You have to control it with a throttle. Look at that. Whoa. Come on, just... I really do love this car, and I promise you, this car had, as I've mentioned, an inline 4 engine that can go up to 10,000 RPM. It had only 180 horsepower, and even with 180 horsepower and the limited slip differential, this thing was actually very, very nice and controllable drift machine. But with 300 horsepower, look at that. It's just, this thing rips really hard, and it's very, very quick in a straight line. Just beautiful. A very, very nice JDM beast. Looks absolutely breathtaking. And yeah, the engine actually works very, very nicely. So with an all-wheel drive, very, very lightweight car, this engine will actually be a monster actually on the track with an all-wheel drive, very, very lightweight car. If I actually do a conversion of this car, if I actually go from rear-wheel drive to all-wheel drive, this thing will actually be a drift machine, a very, very awesome and quick car. And I think I'm gonna do that. So that's pretty much it, my friend. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna keep practice with this car to actually master how to use a limited sub differential around a roundabout to make a complete donut. I actually did a complete donut-ish, but it's actually very, very tricky. But it's very, very controllable if I can master the throttle. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, get subscribed, share the video if you want to share it, and of course to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Because the current challenge, which is actually still running if you want to participate in, which is actually the 1970s Italian beauty car challenge. If you want to participate, the challenge is still up and running, up all the way up to the 15th of April 2019. If you want to participate, it's still up and running. Just create a very, very beautiful Italian 1970s car. Of course, you have to follow the rules. The rules are in a video that I made before this video. You can actually watch it right here. If you click the circle right here, you can watch that video and you can learn about the rules if you want to participate and have a chance of winning the prize car for that challenge, of course. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page, the link in the description below. If you want to download this car right now, plus my other crazy special supercharged cars, plus other crazy replica cars like the Toyota A86, the Porsche 911 from 1975, and much, much more. Like also the Project X car, which is the fastest automation car that I've ever created, that can go 720 kilometers per hour using a 4,500 horsepower V16 engine. You can find all of those cars, link in the description below on my Patreon page. And of course, by downloading my special cars, you'll be, of course, supporting this channel and giving me more motivation to do much more challenges and videos and much, much more. And of course, if you actually sign up to my Patreon page, you can get a special role on my Discord, so you can actually have like more authority and get more crazy special things, and of course get to vote on special behind the scene things before anyone else. And of course, if you want to support the channel even more, you can check out my BN shop. Also the link in the description below if you want to purchase a t-shirt, an apron, a phone case, a pillow, whatever with the logo channel on it. Also, this will help it will help a lot actually on this channel to get better equipment, and of course to give me more motivation to do more and more. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I will see you very, very soon. And of course, don't forget to watch my previous video over here, and of course to get subscribed over here. And I will see you very, very soon with more videos, and goodbye for now, my friends.